Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters, from anime, series, or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86, and today from Demon Slayer and BUZZmod I present to you Shinazugawa. This is the Wind Hashira. Looking at the front of the box and through the window, you have a full display of the Wind Hashira along with all the accessories and the expressions that come with them. This box is decorated with the black and light green colors just to signify the special effects that always comes out when Shinazugawa slices his sword through the air. Looking at the back of the box, you basically have the figure doing different poses, showing you the different expressions. In this one, also comes with a wind effect part. On the last side of the box, you basically have the Demon Slayer logo along with the BUZZmod logo. Upon removing the figure from the box, you can see that it comes in 2 blister packs. But let's spend a little bit more time here than normal because I'm seeing some packaging differences than what we have seen on other BUZZmod figures from Demon Slayer. Focusing on the first blister pack that has the figure, one of the key differences here that I noticed is how the different wrists are packaged. If you look at the different hand gestures, you will see that this time they come with the actual tree, kind of like a placeholder, where on previous BUZZmod figures from Demon Slayer, we haven't seen this. Usually they're packaged in their own individual sections with a piece of tape over them, holding them. To me, this is a package improvement. I'd rather have this than the silly tape holding all the different hands, but they're still doing it on the different head sculptures. So in this one, I do see a minor improvement on their packaging. Another thing to note, even the face expressions, they are no longer individually wrapped either, as compared to the earlier figures we have seen on this channel. On the second blister pack that has the legs in the folded position and it has the wind effect parts, you could also see that it comes with a mat and 2 wooden swords. These are the wooden swords that we saw in the Hashira training when you had the wind, snake, and mist Hashira's training. One of the differences in this particular packaging is that the mat no longer comes wrapped around in a plastic bag, and same thing for the folded feet. I don't know if they did it by mistake and they forgot to put them in their individual plastic bags, or this is just a different packaging altogether. But summarizing what I've seen so far, this packaging is different compared to the other ones that we're used to seeing on these BUZZmod figures. Here's a quick look at the instructions that come with the figure. In the first section, it tells you how to attach the sheath into the waistband. Then it shows you how to install the haori, as well as how to detach the legs. At the bottom, it shows you the wind effect part, how to detach the arms, and how to swap out the face plates. And it also comes with some warnings and handling instructions because apparently these figures are fragile and cannot extend sunlight. This is the 360 of Shinazugawa, the Wind Hashira, straight out of the box. Overall, looking at the figure, this expression to me is supposed to be the neutral one, but I can't help to look at it where he basically looks a bit scared, which is basically the complete opposite of this character's persona. The outfit is not a dark brown or a dark navy blue. This one seems to be like a dark turquoise right before it turns gray. The other thing that I saw is that on the joints he's cut off a little bit differently, especially in the mid section by the lower abs. If you look at it, that section kind of has like an H-shaped cutout, where on the other figures it's a little bit more plainer. So that might have an impact on how the articulations are going to be. And maybe it's just for this particular character, since out of all the Hashiras that we've seen so far, this one is one that kind of has the full midsection exposed. It's almost like he's wearing a jacket really, where he's trying to show off his abs. For starters, once I removed the plastic out of the figure, I realized that he didn't have the individual plastic pieces that kind of separate the joints, which is something that I have seen done very heavily on these BUZZmod figures. If you can go back to any of the other BUZZmod figures that we've done in this channel, you will see how almost every joint has a plastic piece in between them, and it's probably being done as a way to save costs on the packaging on the figure, just to try to make it cheaper to produce.
What the hell do you think? think you're trying to pull here exactly?
Now let's check out the 360 of Shinazugawa. He's got good head movement. This is as low as he can see. This is as high. And as you can see in the back, he's got the little piece of hair ring. I'm not a huge fan of this because this particular section, it doesn't add much to the figure overall. And usually it gets in the way of doing head articulations. He's got good side to side movement. Good 360 on the arms. And this is again the specialty of BUZZmod that we've seen on these figures, where he's got the double joint there for the arm. So you can stretch it, and then as you can see, he's got good rotation there. So you can also get a 360 out of that. And it also, because of the double joint, it allows him to have further reach when doing cross arms, as you see here. Plus it also extends the reach and it gives you more mobility. And I think this was basically done to counteract the articulation points that we lose once you add the haori that is made out of cloth. You can get 360 of the arm, 360 off the bicep. There's the elbow, 360 off the wrist, up and down. And here's again the cut line where it's helping us, basically to give the figure more movement on the core. So as you can see, he's got some really good chest movement. He's got two mid sections here. So he's got one coming from the waist and then he's got one coming from the chest. So I'm trying to get him to show you both, but I'm just not being able because the one in the waist is very movable, as you can see here. Overall, he really has some good chest movement, especially on the abdominals. He's got side movement. He's got good torsional rotation. So this is as high as the leg goes. This is as far back. Here's the split. There's the knee. This doesn't rotate. Here's the ankles fall down. This is as high as they go. The toes. These guys side rotation, inboard, outboard, and he can also do 360. So balancing the figure should be very easy. He's got some really good articulation points, similar to what I have seen on the other BUZZmod figures from this figure line. Here's a close-up of all the different expressions that come with Shinazugawa. The first one is the neutral expression, and honestly to me, in this one, he just looks like he's scared. Maybe it's because of how they drew the eyes and all that instead of making him look serious, he just looks like he's afraid. The second expression shows the grinning smile. So in this one, you can see he looks really excited and ready to go fight. To me, this is the most common expression that we see him have all the time. The next one is the action yelling expression. So in this one, he looks really intimidating. The last one is the angry grinning expression. I also wanted to give you a close-up of his Nichiren sword, which is mostly green and black. And one thing that I really like about the sword is his Tetsuba. If you look at his Tetsuba, it's made of a pattern that is repetitive, but to me it just looks like a ninja star, which makes it pretty cool. If you look at the sheath of the sword, you will see that it has similar markings to the scars on his body. So he's a matching figure with scars. For this one, I used the action expression. I also used the wind effect part that came with it. One thing to note though, the biggest problem that I have with this particular special effect part, and don't get me wrong, I love special effect parts, but the biggest flaw that I see here is the pattern of the spikes that are coming out of the effect part. If you pay close attention to the action scenes of Shinazugawa in the series, you will know that when he slashes his sword, he automatically has this green aura coming out of the blade. But the spikes that come out of the blade go on the opposite side of the sharp edge of the blade. In other words, what I'm saying is on the special effect parts, the spikes that are coming out of it are backwards. They should be facing the other way around. That way it will make the flow of the sword more accurate to match what we have seen in the anime. And obviously on the special effect part, it's cut into 3 sections, so you can kind of rotate it to take any shape that you want to do. But the biggest problem, like I mentioned, is the pattern of the spikes. They don't really match to how the support is supposed to strike it through the air. So based off that, you can get creative. The other issue I had was putting the sheath inside the hole on the belt. Even though it's made out of rubber, it seems that they didn't fully do the cutout. So at first impression, when I tried to insert it, I saw that some of the paint was starting to get scuffed on the bottom of the sheath. So what I ended up doing is I stuck a screwdriver just to kind of help widen it and loosen the hole. So that was another poor quality mark there. And honestly, I had high hopes for the figure, but so far it's not really meeting my expectations. For this scene, I have Shinazugawa slicing demons. I gave them the expression that shows the grinning smile, just showing his excitement there. One thing to note, I did this scene just so you could see the other S.H.Figuarts effect parts that basically shows the similar one that came with Shinazugawa of him slicing through the air. So this to me is how the wind effect part should have been done from BUZZmod. As you can see, as the sword slicing through the air, all the spikes are facing in the opposite direction, unlike the one that came with the figure. So I just wanted to show you both avenues in case you want to beef up your character to give him more badass scenes. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. So in this one, he went through the building, just slicing demons left and right. So what you can see is the remnants of where he was wielding the sword of all the different locations. And that is something cool that I like about this particular character. You can really see his sword slices. It's kind of got like the after effect glow, where I don't recall seeing that on the other Hashiras when they wielded the swords. Obviously Rengoku showed his with the flame effect, but that was the fire Hashira, right? Follow me on IG at Titandel86. It seems they had similar fighting effects, but Rengoku's only showed up when he was really fired up. For this one, the Wind Hashira is able to show it just by the flickering of his sword regardless. So now you can see how the special effect parts complement the sword as he's slicing through the air, showing that great movement. For this scene, I have the Wind Hashira sitting down. As typical tradition from these BUZZmod figures, they all come with a sitting mat. So on this one, I gave them the two legs to show the knees and the full extension. I gave them the normal expression, which I'm not really liking it either. It doesn't look like a neutral expression as it's supposed to be. It looks more like a scared expression, which is completely opposite of this character. The other thing I did here, I have the Haiori removed, so it's just laying there on the floor. So in this scene, he's basically coming to meet with the other Hashiras and he's just sitting there. In this scene, hopefully you can see the details of the Tetsuba. As I mentioned earlier, I really like the details on it, and so far I think it looks pretty cool. And also he just basically came in and he tossed the Haiori to the side there. One thing to note is removing the legs was very easy, but putting the new legs that you see on the screen there was a little bit difficult. And it's because the way that the figure is made, the crotch area basically has that giant centerpiece that is plastic, so it's not physically attached to anything, while the skeleton is on the inside in a three-prong system that's basically the shape of a triangle. So the torso attaches to the top part while the two legs attach to the bottom lower sections. So it's really hard to grip when you're trying to insert the legs. One thing to note, on the legs that are folded, you can move the ankles. It does have some limited play, but they're movable. So one thing that we saw in the other figures is you could actually pull these out and you can swap them out with the regular feet that come with the regular legs. So you can use these for other range of motions or other displays. So that is something good for the figure. This is the scene from the Hashira training arc where Tanjiro and Shinazugawa were training. Well, technically Shinazugawa was going to teach some moves and stuff, but they got into it with Kenya, and this is where they resulted into a fist fight. So in this one, I have Shinazugawa with the grinning expression, and then Tanjiro with the other grinning expression as well. I'm not sure if the camera is going to let you see that expression, but he's got it there. So this is the scene where Shinazugawa did a major uppercut on Tanjiro, and from the looks of it, it looks like he had gotten him pretty good. But if you zoom in closer, you would have realized that Tanjiro was able to block him, which was very amazing. This was a scene marking how Tanjiro has gotten stronger over the time, especially training on the different Hashiras, to the point where he could even stop the Wind Hashira. And as you can see from the very beginning, from season 1, these two have never been on the same page. If you recall, Tanjiro was really upset when Shinazugawa was targeting Nezuko when she was inside the wooden box, just trying to kill her and trying to get her to lash out at him. So ever since then, they've had a very strong hatred towards each other. And what fired up Tanjiro even more was the way that Shinazugawa was treating Kenya. It makes me wonder if we're gonna get a Tanjiro showing him bulked up without the shirt. I don't know, maybe S.H.Figuarts would do it. If not, we'll see if BUZZmod does it. But overall, I feel like we're getting closer to having all the Hashiras in their BUZZmod forms. If you've been watching this channel and been watching it throughout the time since BUZZmod figure lines rolled out, we already have most of them. The only ones that we're missing now is the Snake Hashira and the Stone one. I wonder when we're gonna get those figures, and maybe those will come up this year. On him, I gave them the expression that has the giant smirking smile on him. To me, this is the best expression out of all of them that came with the figure. So I gave Tokito the grinning expression, and that is because he didn't really have the expression I wanted to go for, that subtle action expression which was missing from the figure. So hopefully if S.H.Figuarts does that, they'll give us better expressions for Tokito. If you recall when I did that video, if you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do so, just so you can see what this Tokito figure is capable of doing. This is the scene where Tokito and Shinazugawa are training. For this one, I have both Hashiras holding the wooden swords since they're practicing. The idea of the wooden swords is so they don't get injured during training, because then that will really set them back. And in this particular scene, as you can see, Tokito is holding Shinazugawa's left hand foot with a sword, and he's using the left arm just to give him that backup support as Shinazugawa is pressing down on him. This is some true high level Hashira fighting skills. Just in case you're wondering, getting them to balance for this one was extremely difficult, especially Shinazugawa. He is completely balanced only by his right foot. Other than that, there's nothing else sustaining him. If I was to separate them, you will see that both figures are standing on their own. Tokito was a little bit harder to balance as well. Overall, I feel very neutral about this figure. The Haori is very limiting. As you can see, even though it's a short sleeve, at least it doesn't cover the whole body like we've seen, for example, the Tanjiro one. But it still gets a little bit in the way. The other thing I wanted to point out is I feel like they took a couple shortcuts on this figure. So let's see what they did with Genya. I think the expressions could have been shaped a little bit better. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.